Okey, kita mulakan kelas lah. So kita sekarang akan belajar OCT497 Occupational Therapy in Return to Work. So this subject is very important as an OT. One of our role is to return injured workers, mental health workers, disabled people, ada injuries ke heart problem ke stroke problem to return to work. So it's very important for OT. So this subject. If you can see the boleh nampak tak dalam ni? Saya dah tunjukkan. Dia punya syllabus. So this subject is 3 credit. 3 credit. And you can read the course description. The course description itu kalau you tengok, you baca. Sekejap. So the course description, at the end of the course, students will be able to evaluate and apply different types of assessment tools for clients who suffered work-related injuries, diseases, mental health issues. So each of the tools will be discussed in details in terms of reliability, validity. Then we're going to have a appraisal on the model, procedures, and also the protocols. In this course, students be able to analyze the findings and recommend specific intervention for different type of work-related injuries based on client current physical and to their mental capacities. So in this course, students will be taught on how to plan and conduct intervention objectively based on injured workers' current physical and mental capacities in order to return to work safely and as soon as possible. Various intervention strategies such as work hardening and work conditioning, work modification or adaptation that are evidence-based practice will be taught to students. In addition, other evidence-based studies such as counseling, vocational, driver rehab, stress management also will be taught to you. Evidence-based practice and case management with different type of condition will be critically emphasized to prepare you all in your clinical placement. So this is the synopsis of this code. So at the end, you are able to describe theoretical framework of reference, approaches, procedures, and evidence-based practice in return to work. Then you are able to demonstrate different types of assessment and intervention skills in return to work. And then apply scientific skills in return to work in case management with clients who have various conditions and job histories. So at the end, you are skillful, which is minimum requirement for your posting in future. So in this code, there is a lot of evidence-based articles that you need to read. So in our code for this code, there is a lectures. I'm going to give lectures to you all, and also there is a lab work. Field trip we cannot do lah. We got very short time, very difficult to arrange trip. And also there is a case study. I will provide to you case study, and also problem-based learning, and also a lot of journal and article, in this code. So you're able to evaluate, demonstrate, and apply scientific way in terms of case management. So these are the topics. All the topics here will be covered. You can read this thing. And also I have prepared already the lesson plan for you all. So we have 14 weeks as usual. You tengok sini when you check this in the apa ni you future ada letakkan lesson plan. So in this lecture lesson plan week 1 this is more introduction of OT in return to work. I will give you sekejap lagi ya. And then week 2 we have FCE. We discuss on functional capacity evaluation, which is very important. Before you design your intervention, you need to understand your worker capacity. What are their current capacity? You want to plan intervention for them. And also, I will present to you work conditioning and work hardening in week 3, and then job analysis, which is very important. How we analyze job, which is very important. If we want to come out with the intervention, we have to know what type of the job of the worker. And then stress management at work, week 5. And also at week 6, there is a topic called occupational rehab and ergonomics at workplace. So OT not only work at clinic and hospital, but also at the factory. So as an OT, what we can do in the workplace. And also there is a health and safety promotion. So this is a basic in terms how to take care health and safety at the workplace. So as an OT, we also have to know about health and safety promotion at workplace, and also how to identify hazard, all that. So it's very important. So this topic covered it. Then at 8 week, there is a driver rehabilitation. So driver rehabilitation. So people who suffer stroke. So how we assess them, how we manage them, how we train them under this topic. And then vocational rehab is for cases disabled adolescents, cerebral palsy, mental retarded, how we do vocational rehab for them. So covered in 9th week. And then this one very specific, vocational training and employment for autism adolescent. So very important topic, autism in employment. So currently there's a lot of topic about autism in terms of employment. So I'm going to address this thing, and in week 10. Then at week 11, return to work for cardiac event. For patient who suffer the cardiac event, macam apa blockage ke, macam apa ni, ada surgery ke, operation ke, reduce the block. So how we address their return to work for cardiac event. And then return to work for spinal cord injuries. You will see in your clinical patient apa ni using wheelchair. So I will share with you lah, because I got experience in this spinal cord injuries. And then return to work for mental illness patient also. I will cover it. This is very specific for mental illness patients, where return to work or working for them is very important. Then return to work for stroke patient also. There's a lot of cases. People, workers suffer stroke. So how are we going to handle this case? So this is 14 weeks lah. Yeah. Throughout the weeks, every Monday until the 14 weeks, I will cover topic by topic lah. And then there's a lot of article. So my style is that whenever there is a lecture, I will give you article. Then before the next class, 50 minutes, I will ask one of you randomly to present the topic. So this is very important. So as a degree student, not only you receive, but also you have to share whatever you have read. You must have what they call it independent learning style of study. You kena baca the article, the research, the topic. Then we have to share with the class. 50 minutes, 15 minutes, 5 minutes before the next class. Katakan kelas 2.5 start, 50 minutes. You share you punya reading, what we have read to others. Okay. And then every Monday, semua 2:30 to 4:30. Kalau ada cuti ke dan sebagainya, I will inform lah, kita kena ganti ni, these 2 hours. And then you all tak datang dalam lab kan? Tak pergi puncak alam, tapi you datang 8 minggu. So 8 minggu, so I start minggu ke-7 lah. Minggu ke-7. So minggu 7 ni, the 7th week, I dah prepare what are the important equipment yang you kena belajar. So dalam lab, the first week ni, at the 7th week lah, you datang. So kalau kita tengok ni, ada 6 minggu you tak datang. So 6 minggu dah lepas raya lah kan. Lepas raya, after raya, you all kena datang lah. Pergi lab. So lab ni bagi kepada 4 grup. Kita pecahkan. So when I check the timetable, 15 weeks. 15 days. 15 days pula. 15 people. Dalam satu grup ada 15 orang. You all dalam 56 orang. 56 orang. So ada grup A, B, C, D. Grup A, grup C Tuesday, grup D also Tuesday. So group C 10:30, 12:30, group D 2:30 to 4:30 on Tuesday at the 7th week. Group B on Wednesday morning 8:30 to 10:30. And group A Friday 2:30 to 4:30. So at the 7th week, you all will come to the college, to university lah. Kita buat lab. So in this lesson plan, method of assessment, there is a test. So test 1 will cover the topic of 1 to 5 topic. Then test 2 will cover 6 to 9 topic. Test 2. And then the final test will be on case study. So case study, I will highlight to you all. Probably ada 2 case study or 3 case study. So dalam case study ni, cumulative dia 30%. And test 1 and 2 consists of 40%. And then there is report, reflection, presentation at lab. So dalam lab, kita terus when you present, kita akan ambil markah terus. Masa presentation kat lab, bukan dalam PowerPoint. Presentation of the penggunaan tool. So I will akan bagi tools yang different tools lah from different group. And then you all present at the lab and then buat report. Dan from that kita bagi markah. So sini ada 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 report and 7 presentation. So report and reflection in group lah. In group, buat dalam group lah. So nanti bila datang ke universiti, nanti I akan bagikan group lah to you all. So regarding the topic and also the lab, do you all have any question to ask me? Boleh tanya soalan sekarang. Ada yang tak puas hati ke ataupun nak tambah lagi ke, test ke dan sebagainya? Boleh sekarang.
Doktor nak tanya.
Ya, Safa.
Apa kan kita lab nanti pergi lab start nanti lepas balik UiTM kan? Lepas tu waktu yang sekarang ODL ni, waktu lab tu ada kelas online juga ke?
Saya prefer setiap minggu tu ada artikel you all baca, fahamkan kan. And then kita ikut schedule lah. Sebab timetable dah bagi. Saya kalau nak buat rushing kan, you nanti macam mana nak baca artikel artikel research apa semua berkaitan dengan topik tu. Jadi saya punya approach, kita every Monday kita ada kelas kan. Kita ikut schedule 14 weeks. Ikutlah lab tu tak mengganggu. Maksudnya lab ni sekarang ni Tuesday, Wednesday and Friday. Kan Monday kelas. So every week ada kelas on Monday. Setuju tak tu?
Faham.
Faham. Kita masih ikut macam biasalah. Kalau I nak pressure you, katakan minggu pertama ni I habiskan 3 topik. Kan dengan artikel macam mana kita nak, macam mana you nak digest kan. Banyak research tentang berkaitan topik-topik ni, artikel you nak baca, nak faham. Kalau kita buat 3 topik dalam 1 minggu, I think I lost, you pun lost nanti. Kan? You pun rasa apalah ni, too congested. Too tough for you all. And too tough for me also. Kan? I focus every week, I prepare, I focus kan. Dan you pun kena boleh fokus. Kan you ada bukan saja Discord kan. You ada kod lain, gerontologi dan sebagainya. Boleh tak semua? Faham tak?
Boleh.
Faham kita maintain Monday lah, on Monday every week, except if there is a public holiday, I will find ada 2 hours tu. Di mana kita nak cari 2 hours. Nanti kita I carikan ataupun I bincang dengan group leader, ketua group ni, OCT497. Siapa ketua you yang bagi kat saya tadi? Siapa nama dia? Sorry, saya tak ingat tadi nama.
Saya.
Siapa saya tu?
Alia.
Alia. Okey Alia. Sorry Alia, saya tak berapa ingat tadi. Okey Alia, nanti saya beritahu Alia lah. Boleh tak semua? Setuju tak?
Setuju.
Alright, okay. And then I will record lah. I will record lecture saya ni every week. And then kalau siapa-siapa yang internet ada problem kan, kalau dapat masa you balik nanti, kalau dapat boleh buat kelas, bolehlah kita berjumpa dalam apa ni dewan kuliah. Dewan kuliah nanti kita jumpalah. Okey, ada lagi soalan? So, test 1, test 2 and then final test. Final test ni about case study. Case study lebih pada final test. So, tengoklah nanti I tengok ada 2 case ke, 3 case ke. Alright. Ada lagi soalan? Ada siapa yang duduk di college ni? Antara ramai-ramai ni yang balik di college. Boleh saya tahu? Seorang pun tak ada. Ataupun malu nak cakap ni. Saya ada nama dia ni, yang senarai ni, yang apa duduk di college ni. Ada yang nak balik di college ke duduk di college ni? Takut tak dapat balik raya.
Nanti nangis dapat balik raya.
Ya ke?
Takut raya dia tak boleh.
Apalah, saya dulu tak pernah beraya pun. Belajar ni. 2 tahun, 3 tahun tak balik beraya. Tak ada masalah pun.
Tapi doktor main snow kan kat sana?
Main snow lah. Tidur lah. Time raya tidur. Okey. Alright semua. Ada lagi soalan tentang lesson plan ni? Ada soalan? Tak ada semua Semua faham Okey. So the materials jangan apa ni download dulu material. I sekarang tengah revise. So ambil yang week pertama je, first week dulu. Dengan syllabus, dengan lesson plan tu. Week 2 nanti next week baru dah boleh download Okey. Okey, sekarang kita pergi kepada topik kita untuk hari ini. Introduction OT, return to work Alright, nampak dah semua?
Nampak.
Okay. This first introduction, work rehab and return to work. So there is 2 things. Work rehab and return to work. This is more introduction. So I will explain the work, rehab and return to work. So this topic, the learning outcome of this topic about to discuss the model and framework, work rehab and return to work. And then the second one to describe the importance of classification of disability in terms of rehabilitation. And then to describe work rehabilitation process. And then to describe components of work rehabilitation. Okay. This is outline. What is work and OT. Fundamental goal of OT in work rehab. The return to work process, OT theories and other theories. So as an OT, we also need to understand and recognize other theories. If we only understand OT theories, there is a limitation because some other profession they didn't understand our theory. So, and some depends on the policy at workplace. So we need to understand other theories. So what is work? He who complains against his work knows no life. Work is an uplifting force by which all things may be moved. Repose, it means relax. Recline is death, and work is life. This is from Jastrabowski in 1857. So if you, when people working, kalau dia bekerja when his work and he a lot of complain, dia buat complain. Actually, work is not dia punya life. Actually, people yang banyak complain bila bekerja, actually, apa dia? Dia tak sukalah dengan pekerjaan tu. Actually, when we work, we value. Because if you don't work, it's like it's death. Repose is death, and work is life. So you can see that from your observation, when you see people who not working ataupun pension ke retire, macam-macam penyakit dia dapat kan. So work is very important. Work is life. You tengok Tun Mahathir macam mana. Dia seorang yang aktif politik. Dia berpolitik saja. Dia tak berhenti-berhenti. That's why dia dapat continue teruskan dia punya kehidupan. Macam our current Prime Minister. Dia sentiasa bekerja. Even though dia ada penyakit terminal illness, but still he can go through his life because he have work to do. That the thing. When we have work, we occupy our life. We can continue in our life. So people yang repose or relax or recline in terms of work seems is death for them. So work is life. This is very important in terms of work. In terms of labor department, they describe work is a physical or mental effort or activity directed toward the purposeful production or accomplishment of something. So you need to have your effort, especially your physical and mental effort. If you do activity, it doesn't mean work is something you gain money. For example, you do volunteer job, you actively involved in NGO, in community. So you can, they call it the work. If you can accomplish of something, so this is called work. So you need to have your effort in terms of your physical or your and together with your mental. So this is called work. This is described by Labor Department of USA. In terms of Jacobs et al. From American OT Association. So in terms of occupational performance area of work, in terms of description of work, from American OT Association is that any activities that contribute to the goals and services of society, whether paid or unpaid. If you can have activities with the community, if unpaid also, we can consider this area of work. And in terms of elements of works, work behavior, we need to understand work behavior, skills, and physical capacity. Work behavior in terms of punctuality, your frustration tolerance, your discipline, able to follow instruction, known as work behavior. Punctuality, cooperation, participation, skills. Skill is something that you are able to perform, kan? Your skill. For example, kalau you bekerja sebagai clerk, katakan, kerani. Kerani, what are the punya type of job? They must have the skill of typing, using computer. This is their skill and their physical capacity. Physical capacity can be walking. They're able to walk. They have to mobilize themselves. They are able to stand. Kalau kerja di kilang, if you production worker, you need to have physical capacity, your endurance to stand, your endurance to sit, known as physical capacity. So one of the elements, work behaviors, skills, and physical capacity. This is from American OT Association, from Jacobs. So in terms of elements of work, this one, work behaviors. The ability to behave appropriately, sense of time and responsibility. If you work, you must have sense of time and responsibility. You must be punctual when it comes to work. Follow instruction, follow standard operation procedure. You are able to read, write, handle money. This is called work behavior. Handle money, personal hygiene, accept and use supervision, make friends and get along with others. When you work, you must make friends. You cannot have a friends at the workplace. You become isolated. Kan? You tak boleh bekerja sama. You tak boleh cooperate. So, for example, like autistic adolescent, they have problem in terms of socialization. They are unable to make friends because they have rigid thinking, so they are unable to make friends. But when you work, you need to have work behavior. So this thing we need to handle. For example, like autistic adolescents, if there is an issue of socialization, they cannot make friends. So this is our role, because if the thing continue, they won't last long. They cannot sustain when they work at the workplace. Work skill, I just mentioned to you all. This can be learned or potential to learn. For example, like typing, kan? You can be learned. There is a potential to learn. For example, like if we work at pump attendant Petronas, what are the work skills you need to have at Petronas? You need to have a skill to pour the gas, the oil tu dalam kereta. This is a skill, kan? Kalau tak ada skill, work skill is going to be different. The skill can be learned in 2 hours, or it can be learned for 1 day, and it can be learned for 4 years. For example, like OT, occupational therapist. Their skill need to learn about 4 years. So different type of job, their work skills different in terms of the learning time. So in terms of physical capacities, abilities that are to one degree to one another, possessed by nearly all workers. So US Department of Labor recognized as physical demands that needed to perform a job. They call it physical ability. So for example, like policeman, if you work as policeman, what are the physical capacity you must have? You must able to stand, able to run, able to walk in a long distance. You must have endurance. This is called physical capacity. In US Department, there is 20 physical capacities First is strength. Strength. So different type of job, different type of strength being addressed. So this one I will highlight to you all later. Then another 19, physical capacity that they rate as frequent, occasional, constant. Constant ni more than 2.5 hours. Kadang kerja tu kena berdiri lebih daripada 2.5 jam. Kadang berdiri cuma 15 minutes. So we need to understand the physical capacity, the abilities of different job. Different job have different physical capacities. So as an OT, if you want to do plan intervention for the injured worker, you need to understand the physical capacity, physical abilities of the job. Then you can plan, you can design. And then in this, okay, in this one from model of human occupation. So in terms of the person volition, habituation, and performance capacity, interrelated and important factors. In terms of return to work, we also need to understand the person volition, the person motivation. We must address also. For example, like people suffer stroke. Because of their disability, they have low motivation. Their habit will be affected because they cannot perform their routine. So, for example, like disabled workers, for disabled workers, mental retarded workers, autism, all these kind of vulnerable population, if they punya routine change, the effect and dia punya performance, because the thing is interrelated. The person volition, habituation, and the performance capacity. These are the factors in return to work we need to address. And then in terms of self-identity and self-creation, occupation are key not just to being a person and to creating and maintaining identity. When you work or you have a job, you have occupation, not you only not just to being a person, but you maintaining or creating your identity. So identity, for example, lawyer punya occupation ni, dia ada identity dia sendiri. Identity, they are very firm. They have lot of reason. They are very straightforward compared to OT. Kan OT, what type, when as an OT, dia punya occupation, dia punya identity sebagai OT apa? Seorang yang friendly, seorang yang active listening, seorang yang can communicate, can lead. These identity depend on the occupation. For example, like politician. Politician occupation dia punya identity berbeza. Dia masih dressing dia mesti smart, dia pandai bercakap, dia pandai kelentong sebagainya. So different occupation create different identity. And then 30% of our lives are spent at the labor than pay bills. It seems the most of our self-respect is to be garnered from the rest of the world, emanates from our workday life. Almost, kalau you bekerja, almost your life spent at workplace. For example, like you 8 o'clock. For example, like kalau you bekerja, you 6:30, you dah kena start ready. Balik sampai pukul 5, balik kerja pukul 5 tapi sampai rumah pukul 7 katakan. atau 6.30. 6.30 di rumah, pukul 10.30 dah tidur. So time, lot of your time, actually you spend a lot in your work day, dalam pekerjaan. So this is from Chan, Chan and Man, 2005. Work enhance development of identity, social relations, sense of mastery, and economic independence. So if you don't have any work, problem lah in terms of you punya economy, kan? For example, right now, issue of pilot being retrenched, kan? Pilot tak dapat bawa kapal terbang. So dia orang tak sangka, kan? Tak sangka boleh jadi macam ni. Kadang you dah jadi pilot, you secure lah. You punya work, kan? Except kalau kapal terbang ada accident dan sebagainya lah. Tapi tak sangka dia boleh lost dia punya job because of the issue pandemic sekarang, kan? So when you work also there is sense of mastery. So when you work at OT nanti, kalau specific area, you will be master. People will recognize you. People will invite you to give a talk. Because you are master in that field, that specific field. In Chinese culture, work is a very important component of personal, family, and social life. Able to engage in work is an essence of life. Kalau you tak bekerja, for example, like injured worker, dia tak boleh kembali kerja. Hidup dia tak bermakna. Hidup bekerja is a essence of life. Essence of life is means that benda yang penting lah dalam kehidupan. So as an OT, that's why work we have to address people yang injured, dapat disease, penyakit dan sebagainya, mental problem dan sebagainya. So we have to address. We have to know. This is very important as a OT. We have to play our role. So work and OT. So OTs can play a major role in the work rehabilitation process through assessment and rehabilitation of workers with an injury or disability for return to work. We can play a major role in work rehab. Whole of human organization has its shapes in a kind of rhythm, and through structured use of time, people could achieve well-being. By assisting the client to achieve a balanced lifestyle in work, play, rest, and sleep as early as possible, OTs can help clients achieve a sense of homeostasis and health. So if you able to assist your patient, balance you punya lifestyle in work, in play, in rest, and sleep, you can help your client achieve a sense of homeostasis and health. Homeostasis ni balance. Dia dapat capai balance dalam kehidupan ni. Okay, Otis had solid background in the full spectrum of human performance. You study physiology, biomechanics, psychosocial, and behavioral psychology. So you are uniquely qualified to help clients return to work. And then to facilitate the client's highest level of functional status in all occupational or contexts of life, including physical, emotional, social, cognitive, and communicative dimension. So you as an OT, you're able to facilitate because you have a background. You have full background, full spectrum of human performance. This is the foundation. You got foundation, solid foundation to help the client achieve their functional status. So this why we want to study this work rehab and return to work. So there is two things I mentioned to you just now. Work rehab and also return to work. What is the difference? So work rehab usually happening at the hospital. Hospital, ada OT department dan sebagainya. So a training modality commonly used by occupational therapists. So you have modality lah, you ada intervention, ada instrument, serving different therapeutic roles, personal, high, physical, and mental, emotional, and social, possibly financial roles. Might not necessarily lead to open and competitive employment. Dalam hospital, kalau you train dekat OT department, your objective not necessarily lead to open and competitive employment, because your task is to do rehab to them, not necessary for them to return at competitive employment. And then there is no specific time and resource constraint as long as it meets with the overall service and or therapeutic goals. So dalam work rehab ni, di OT department, dekat hospital dan sebagainya, there's no specific time and also resource constraint. Maksudnya resource constraint ni cuti, dia punya majikan tak ada issue of cuti, dia boleh bagi cuti kata one day of half day to go to this rehabilitation, work rehabilitation. And then there's no target. There's no target, specific time for them to return to work. Other common strategies used are career exploration, skill training and education, vocational counseling, and job placement. So, some of the injured workers or workers yang ada disease dan sebagainya, they are unable to return to their former employment. So, they need career exploration. Career exploration is you want to explore stable career that dapat yang sesuai upayaan dia sekarang. For example, like policeman, kan? For example, the policeman suffer spinal cord injury, atau ada motor vehicle accident. So dia ada CAT1 type A Asia classification. So the policeman will be paralyzed from the lower limb, dia ada paralyzed lower limb. Dia guna wheelchair bound already. So you need to explore other career for him. Dia tak bolehlah kerja sebagai policeman. Sebab policeman ni dia punya job task, dia punya physical capacity must walk, running, nak kerja perompak dan sebagainya, kan? Nak lawan penjenayah dan sebagainya, dia tak bolehlah kembali kerja yang sesuai. So you need to do career exploration. You also need to train and educate. For example, you dapat traumatic brain injury. Traumatic brain injury, dia dah lost dia punya spatial perception, dia punya cognitive process dah slow. So you need to train and educate this patient. Sometimes you do vocational counseling. You need to counsel them based on their interest, based on their physical and mental capacity. So you need to do this. And then you need to job placement them. As an OT, sometimes you need to place the job tu pada diorang. For example, like kalau dia guna wheelchair, kan, you nak place di tempat kerja. So what you going to do? You kena assess dia punya accessibility, dia punya type of job, kan? Dia bekerja menggunakan kursi, dia tak boleh berdiri. Dia punya mobility of the wheelchair, dia punya transportation, dia punya skill, sesuai tak skill dia, dia nak punch card pun kadang-kadang you kena tengok sesuai tak. So you do job placement. So this is work rehab. Compared to return to work, is something different. Not a training, but a comprehensive service for injured workers. So, return to work macam di SOCSO, kan? SOCSO, dia ada service dia is return to work for injured workers. Dia ada case manager. Case manager ni akan saya akan bagi video. Saya ada satu video case manager apa dia buat. Nanti saya akan bagi. So, not a training but a comprehensive service for injured workers. Usually involve multidisciplinary team with occupational therapy play a key role. So dalam return to work ni mesti ada multidisciplinary team. Mesti ada physio, ada OT, counselor. So dia ada peranan masing-masing. And then therapeutic goal is very specific to resume a work role as soon as possible. Preferably to the pre-injury employer. Maksudnya pre-injury employer maksudnya dia akan resume kerja yang samalah sebelum dia injured. So you must have therapeutic goal, very specific to resume. Kalau tak boleh, cari pekerjaan yang boleh accommodate, yang kita boleh accommodate dia. Tapi preferably to the pre-injury employer. So depend on the workers' compensation system. There is a time and financial constraint. Kadang-kadang macam SOCSO, dia bagi 2 bulan. 2 bulan rehab. 2 bulan rehab, dia akan tanggung lah. Dia akan compensate gaji dia. Gaji yang dia dapat, yang basic tu, dekat company tu, dia akan compensate. Tapi lepas 2 bulan, dia have to go back to work. So other issue are assessment of level of disability and loss of income, secondary gain and compensation, effective case management. So regulated under legislation, insurance company and all human resource policy and worker labor. Worker labor relations. So depends. Ada company yang ada policy dapat dia ada return to work policy. Depend. Tapi di Malaysia ni kita ada SOCSO lah. SOCSO yang menjaga private sectors workers ni. Kalau dia ada injury, dia ada pampasan, ada benefit, medical benefit. You all dah belajar kan? Itu OCT497 Pekeso, SOCSO. Di situ ada invalidity pension, insurance, injured worker insurance, ada yang sekarang ni yang lost job pun. So this SOCSO will cover people working at the private sectors. So banyak kajian. Ini kajian-kajian yang melibatkan predators for successful rehabilitation. Kalau kita nak buat rehabilitation ni, apa predators untuk successful rehabilitation? Effective functional recovery and rehabilitation. Kalau rehabilitation tu bagus, recovery functional dia very effective, dia boleh successful return to work. There's no direct relationship between severity of work injury and returning to work. So, kalau dia injured dia very severe, tak semestinya dia tak boleh kembali kerja. Ni dah ada kajian 2000 ni. That if they are severe in work injury, that is not direct relationship. Mungkin chance dia untuk kembali kerja masih ada. Better general health status, higher job satisfaction, being a breadwinner. Breadwinner maksudnya dia seorang dia bekerja. Isteri dia suri rumah katakan. Atau suami dia suri rumah tangga, isteri saja bekerja. Boleh. Dia punya prioritas for successful is tinggi. Lower age and less pain. People yang muda, orang muda, lower age and less pain, dia punya priority is quite high, successful itu in rehabilitation. Major clinical factors include smoking, personal stress, and self-rated helps. So kalau you dapat patient, you boleh juga buat assessment self-rated health dia. Dia punya kesihatan dia. Kalau dia self-rated kesihatan dia rendah, maksudnya predators for successful rehabilitation kurang lah. Kalau dia ada isu personal stress, lepas tu dia ada cigarette smoking, dia ada major clinical factors, maksudnya dia ada diabetic, dia ada blood pressure, dia ada cardiac problem, so kemungkinan sukses untuk rehab kurang. Last time of work it means that dia cedera tu, dia time off dia cuti tak lama. Kalau dia cuti tak lama, the successful rehabilitation is quite high. So kalau that's why very important, we want to intervene workers ni in return to work as soon as possible. Jangan dia off work tu lama sangat. Needs for work and work-life values. So people yang value pekerjaannya, dia seronok pergi kerja, dia ada kawan, ada rutin harian dia play, dia rules. So dia punya priority is high. General sense of being valued by employers. So employers kalau dia hargai pekerja dia, kadang ada contoh macam Petronas, dia value dia punya employees. 6 bulan bonus, gaji dia tinggi. So you pun kerja di sana seronok, kan? Naik pangkat senang. Employer ni setiap tahun bagi holidays, pergi bercuti, makan angin, pergi umrah, dia bayar sponsor. So you employers value you, then the successful of the relation is high. This is the predators for successful rehabilitation. So comparison of system, kalau you tengok Malaysia macam di Australia, biasanya dia ada guideline return to work. Dia ada guideline return to work. Employers dia akan rujuk untuk buat rehab. Macam kat Hong Kong, insurance company. Kat Malaysia, SOCSO ataupun government ni. Kalau pekerja government, dia akan rujuk. Kalau macam Australia ni, dia kalau mereka yang cedera, dia cuti lebih 4 hari off work due to dia punya injuries, employers are compulsory to refer. Lain negara, lain sistem. Macam Australia, early and safe return to work. Malaysia lebih kepada compensation and also ada return to work tapi not compulsory. Dia boleh dapat compensation. So Australia early intervention, Malaysia vocational rehab, return to work. So in Malaysia obligation employers, kalau you tengok obligation employers, in Australia employers ni play a major role. In Malaysia not compulsory to do rehab. Masih ada lagi kekurangan di Malaysia ni, tak ada akta atau guideline yang mewajibkan employer refer dia punya pekerja for rehab and return to work. So this is the scenario in different country, USA, Canada, Australia, Hong Kong, and Malaysia. Di contoh saya pergi posting dekat Australia, saya belajar di Australia. Dia ada return to work, guideline for injured workers and guideline for the employer. Employer pun ada guideline, workers pun ada guideline. They have to follow. That's why di Australia, you boleh buka office daripada rumah. Maksudnya, they will call you for service. You tak payahlah pergi hospital. Kalau ada job, dia akan call you for their injured workers. How how to help the injured workers return to work. So OT kat sana dia ada scheme boleh kerja daripada rumah. Masuk referral, dia tunggu daripada rumah. Kalau ada kes, barulah dia pergi ke kilang atau employer. Okay, this kalau you tengok, this the study, return to work management, because this study dekat Hong Kong, dia dah buat study tentang return to work management, return to work management. So dalam study itu banyak dia there is effectiveness in term of the lost time injuries reduce, and then dia punya dia punya cost being reduced. So this is the process. Kalau ada injured person, so ada case itu being interviewed, then this one done in a team yang akan together, injury and medical rehabilitation. So selepas tu dia akan buat FCE, and then they buat job duties analysis. At the same time they do job duty analysis, then they do work site visit and assessment. So bila dah buat ni, 3 benda dia dah buat ni, so dia akan correlate dia akan assessment dia based on FCE, job duties analysis, and work site visit and assessment. So from that, whether the person meet job demands or not. Kalau meet job demands, dia terus balik kepada previous employer, previous job duties. So kalau dia buat FCE, job analysis, and then work site visit, the assessment, dan dia assess, dia interrelate dia punya assessment tu, relate each other, and they found that if the workers dia punya FCE meet dengan dia punya job duties, and then match also dekat dia punya workplace, so the person been return to the previous employment, return to their previous job duties, dia kembali kerja. So kalau do not meet job demand, dia dah buat assessment FCE, job analysis, work site visit, dia akan go through work hardening. So work hardening ni lebih kepada work simulation, sampai dia dah boleh, then dia buat job matching, dan dia buat vocational training, job matching. From that, dia dah buat work hardening dan sebagainya, dia boleh tak kembali ke previous employment. Kalau dia boleh balik ke previous employment, dia go to previous job duties. Kalau kadang-kadang dia tak boleh pergi kepada pekerjaan asal, dia pergi kepada different alternate employer. But some of them can go to previous employment but need to do job modification, because some of the workers dia dah buat rehab, dia buat work hardening dan sebagainya, tapi dia ada limitation dia. Dia buat job modification, kerja yang asal, ataupun dia buat alternate job duties atau kerja yang lain yang dia boleh buat. So this is the process, the ideal process. Kalau you dapat patient untuk you buat work rehab, return to work, so this is the ideal process. First you kena buat FCE dulu, then analyze dia punya job duties, then you visit dia punya workplace, sesuai tak dengan dia punya capacity, dengan job duties dia, dengan tempat kerja dia. Kalau sesuai, then dia buat terus kepada previous employer, terus kepada previous duties. Kalau tak sesuai, do not meet the job demand, you have to do work hardening. hardening. Kalau sampai masa dah buat work hardening ni, you check balik dia sesuai, dia boleh return balik dia punya previous employer. Kalau tak boleh, you kena buat vocational training yang baru, kena buat job matching yang sesuai untuk dia, dan dia kembali sama ada di previous employer ataupun perlu modification ataupun alternate job duties. You see, kalau kalau you tengok sini OT role, OT role. So OT role ni lebih kepada yang color orange ni. So FCE can be done. So physio boleh buat, doktor pun boleh buat. They work together. Tapi yang spesifik untuk OT ni, ni job duties analysis, work site visit and assessment, work hardening, kita buat work hardening, and we do job matching, and we do job modification. This is occupational therapist punya role and responsibility. Kalau ada siapa tanya, FCE done by OT? No, not necessary. It's a team work done by physio, psychologist. But because of depend on the patient kan. Kalau patient you dapat katakan traumatic brain injury, probably dia ada masalah kognitif, psikologi. Kadang-kadang you perlukan psychology input. Kadang-kadang you perlukan, for example, dia ada balance problem. Kadang-kadang you kena perlukan physiotherapist. So FCE actually a team approach in doing FCE. So this is from American Medical Association. The American Medical Association has stated, in general, it is not possible for a physician using medical information alone to make a reliable prediction about an individual's ability to perform tasks or to meet functional demand. So, American Medical Association have recognized that they cannot do, doktor tak boleh buat prediction about an individual ability to perform tasks, especially dia punya functional demand. So, they have to need input from OT, physiotherapy, psychologists, to predict. The doctors cannot. Itu sebab kadang-kadang rujukan daripada physician. Kadang-kadang dia cakap light duty. What type of light duty yang sesuai untuk this worker, kan? Light duty is very general. That's why OT have to do the assessment. Okay, then I go to OT theories in return to work. Lot of OTs ni tak banyak theories kan, tapi this story is our bread and butter lah. Kita punya teori penting sebab kadang kita jumpa patient ni, apa lagi nak buat dengan patient ni kan. Kalau kita tak ada teori, kita limited kita punya role, kita punya objective will be limited. So we have to understand our theories, and then very important theory also akan lahirnya assessment dan sebagainya. So all the assessment, if you, for example, you want to use assessment, you need to understand the underlying construct. From what theory? You need to understand that. So this theory is very important. I like this story, model of human occupation, because Cliff Horner ni, Cliff Horner, they call it father of OT. 2002-2008, dia this is a theory. Actually, this is a theory. Theory is something that dia punya assumptions, dia punya hypothesis. If worker injured, having injuries, sure they're going to have an issue of volition, habituation, and the performance capacity. And this thing, the environment also need to address. So volition, dia punya personal causation, values, and interests, dia punya habituation, the rules and habits. The performance capacity, it can be physical and mental component, subjective experience. The performance capacity or in what they do. So we have to take into account the punya environment also. Dia punya physical and dia punya social. Ni Gary Wayne Cliff Horner, 1949 to 2010. Saya pernah email dengan dia sebab I guna dia punya OSA tu. I translate into Malay language. So, dapatlah bercakap dengan dia melalui email saja. Tapi lepas tu 2010 dia pass away. So in term of model of human occupation, we have to understand the workers' competency and also the punya value. So in term the volition, the volition, the punya motivation, the punya interest. Some of the workers who suffer injury or disease, they have issue of motivation. Dia punya routine, dia punya rules. I pernah dapat case stroke. Case stroke ni dia kerja sebagai warden perempuan. So warden perempuan. So I buat intervention kat dia. So tapi masalahnya majikan dia bila kita dah buat work hardening, intervention kat dia, tapi majikan ni tak bagi peluang dia play as a role as warden. So effect dia punya volition, motivation untuk bekerja kat situ. If you recover, if you have performed at certain level, you are able to fulfill the physical and cognitive demand of the job. Kalau dia bagi role as a clerk, dia bagi role as a clerk je. Clerk tu print, paper. So dia dia pesakit saya tu, rasa frust lah, demotivate lah. Demotivate tetap dapat perform dia punya role as a warder. Dia punya routine affected di tempat kerja. So as an OT, you not only buat intervention kepada pesakit ni, tapi you kena deal dengan dia punya employer. So I pergi jumpa employer dia, discuss. You should give dia punya role as a warder. Walaupun you tak boleh bagi sepenuhnya, tapi mungkin 3/4 of the role as a warder, barulah dia boleh motivate untuk bekerja. So this is the job of an OT. Not only you treat your patient, but also you need to discuss with the employer. So performance capacity as a warder, apa performance capacity as a warder? Dia buat timetable, timetable roster pada dia punya staff, dia kena walk, dia kena buat observation, dia kena walking berapa distance, dia kena naik tangga, dia kena stand berapa lama, dia kena check, kena buat checklist. So you need to understand dia punya performance as warder. And then environment, that's why environment, when talk about the person, dia punya warder lah. Warder is the person behind of the environment. And in term environment also, dia punya physical also, dia punya accessibility, how to. So you have to make a work visit for this particular case. You need to identify dia punya, you kena assess dia punya job, whether need to do modification or not. And then you kena linkkan dia punya capacity, physical and mental capacity dengan dia punya environment dia bekerja, kawan-kawan dia dan sebagainya. Semua you kena tengok. Okay, motivation to do things and choice make with life. This is called volition. your routine and role. Pun kena ambil kira. Kalau dia tak play role as tempat dia bekerja, effect dia punya performance, especially vulnerable population, mental retarded, autistic. If the employer change the routine, typical routine, and dia punya role, sure I can guarantee you, dia lost dia punya motivation to work. So you need to understand, when you got a vulnerable population, for example, like mental retarded, Down syndrome, autistic, adolescent, kalau dia katakan doktor refer kat you, you need to discuss with the employer. Performance dia punya, talking about dia punya ability and dia punya health, kemampuan dia. And then dia punya the physical place and people. So dalam MOHO ni, in terms of health and ability, kita boleh guna M, assessment work performance, AWP. Dia ada the AWP construct from this MOHO. You are able to assess work performance of the worker. Nanti saya akan share dia punya manual dia. And also environment. So MOHO have developed, they call it WEIS, WEIS, Worker Environment Impact Scale. So environment, so as an OT, we go to visit the workers who've been working at the place, the injured workers, then we interview the worker. Bila kita interview, dia punya environment that affect dia punya performance, so we can discuss with the employer, dia punya majikan, what to be improved to cater them. So they have ways. And then also dia ada volition. Dia ada MOHOST, MOOHOST, and also dia ada volitionnaire questions. So these all the assessment developed from MOHO. This is the thing, description of the volition, habituation, performance capacity, and also the environment. So this is very important when we deal with a case, with a patient. Depend on the condition lah. We need to understand all these things. Yeah. This one evaluation. So if you patient not enjoy, not satisfied dengan tempat kerja, we have to do something. We have to, if they lost their interest, their values, so we have to do something. Yeah. For example, if you go work, for example, you as an OT student, you tak ada value untuk jadi OT. So you not going to perform, kan? You tak ada interest, value untuk belajar OT. You kena ada, you kena ada value. You ada personal causation. Why you want to study OT? Maybe you ada personal causation untuk study OT. Untuk bekerja, kan? Minat. Kadang-kadang ada yang belajar OT ni semata-mata kerana dia nak bantu adik dia yang kurang upaya. Nak bantu keluarga dia yang ada disability. This is a personal causation. You must have values. Some people dia buat something yang dia ada aspiration, dia ada commitment bila dia ada values. For example, like this case ni, kan? Dia punya value bela kambing, kan? So kita kena respect dia punya value tu. Dia rasa berbaloi buat benda ni. Kenapa? Kerana dia suka dengan binatang. So kadang-kadang kita kena address dia punya value tu. So bila dia ada value, what is worth doing, dia akan bagi komitmen. So kadang patient ni, worker ni, kita kena tengok dia punya value dia. Barulah dia boleh bagi komitmen. Ni interest. You kena ada interest, you enjoy and satisfying to do. This case, they enjoy bawa lori. Bawa lori as a lorry driver. So, as an OT, we have to respect that. Dia punya enjoyment. Kalau dia enjoy bawa lori, then we have to return to what he's enjoy. Satisfied. So there's a lot of evidence in terms of volition. Banyak kajian from Bregman, Mantrap. Ini berkaitan dengan volition. Kita boleh baca kat sini. Ectoplasm OT. Skila 2002. Volition include interest, personal satisfaction and value for career. Affect decision to return to. Kalau you nak kembali seorang tu bekerja, you have to look at dia punya volition, dia punya interest, personal satisfaction. Kalau dia tak value dia punya job, dia punya career, dia akan nak kembali kerja pun susah. So you kena screen your punya patient. Habit, so very important. Within temporal, physical and social. So if they cannot play dia punya role, dia punya habits, so we affected, especially yang vulnerable punya population. So kadang-kadang, contoh, habit, kadang-kadang dia pergi, sebelum pergi kerja tu, habit dia drop by, beli nasi lemak bungkus. Kan? Itu dia punya rutin, dia punya habit. Baru dia terasa seronok pergi kerja dan bawa bekal. Itu dia punya habit. Kadang-kadang bila benda tu dia tak dapat buat, ada effect dia punya motivation dia. Habits are acquired tendencies to automatically respond and perform in certain consistent ways in familiar environments or situations. So habit dia apa? So you need to understand your client, dia punya habit. So for example like Muslim, habit dia, rutin harian dia, sembahyang berjemaah di masjid. So masa I dekat PRPP, ada isu of dia orang ni, wheelchair ni, orang kurang upaya ni, dia tak boleh masuk ke masjid. So because the accessibility, dia sembahyang dekat tepi longkang sana. Tepi longkang sana. So bila I access, I cakap I mesti buat sesuatu. So I design tempat mengambil wuduk, tempat access wheelchair boleh masuk, lepas tu boleh ada ruang sembahyang dia di dalam masjid, and then ada juga orthodox thinking, pemikiran jumud lama dalam jawatan kuasa tu. Kenapa nak masukkan wheelchair kat dalam? Boleh kotor, najis. Cakap, kenapa tak boleh? Sebab wheelchair ni macam ibarat kaki. Dia cakap, lepas tu, habis nak buat macam mana? Dia orang nak bersihkan tayar apa semua. So, I cakap, I ada plan. I boleh buat modification. Macam mana accessibility dia nak naik ke surau, nak ambil wuduk, tempat dia boleh mengambil wuduk sebelum dia masuk dalam masjid. So, dia boleh, bila dah perform, semua yang kurang upaya ni boleh dalam satu bahagian ni khas untuk dia perform. Bila I interview salah seorang tu, dia cakap bila dia boleh buat naik kursi roda kat masjid sembahyang berjemaah bersama dengan orang lain, dia rasa macam hidup semula. Jadi dia ada desire, interest, motivation untuk teruskan kehidupan. Dia benda ni semua berkait, especially dia punya environment. habit, rules yang saya cakap tadi. Kalau dia tak boleh mainkan peranan yang sepatutnya dia mainkan bila dia injured, kan, dia effect dia punya attitude, dia punya action. So we need to understand dia punya rules and routine. Ini kajian-kajian yang dibuat. Performance capacity. So performance capacity is very important. It's like a life experience. So depends on the condition, performance capacity. So you need to address all these things. Dia punya physical, dia punya mental, dia punya cognitive, kan? Dia punya cardiopulmonary, dia punya musculoskeletal. So depends on dia punya injury lah. So you need to address that to perform dia punya capacity. So for example, like this fella, dia UKM lecturer. UKM lecturer. Dia spinal cord injury yang C7, C7 ni dia ada masalah grip. Grip dia tak boleh handle, tak boleh buat handle steering kita. So dia ada issue of physical. So as an OT, you buat modification yang mana dia boleh ada support dia punya spleen ni. You tengok spleen ni, dia boleh support, boleh strap dia punya. So dia guna swivel spleen, dia boleh gerak 360 darjah. So dia punya interest nak dapat license, tapi you have to improve dia punya performance capacity. You buat modification dekat steering dia. So this fella, UKM lecturer economic international. Dia boleh drive. Dia enjoy, dia dah competent untuk drive dengan modification. So you have improve dia punya performance capacity. So environment is very important. I highlight to you all in terms of punya physical, social. So all these things you need to address. So dalam MOHO ni, kalau you tengok access MOHO clearing house ni, dia ada manual untuk access dia punya model of human occupation ni, dia punya teoris. You boleh tengok kat situ. Tapi dalam kita punya subjek ni, I pilih lah. Kat sini ada 19 lebih sekarang ni. Lebih daripada 19. So, ada beberapa assessment yang sesuai dipakai untuk adolescent yang return to work. Contoh macam occupational self-assessment, OSA, MOHOS, WAIS, WEIS, assessment, AWP, assessment work performance, volitionnaire questionnaire. So all these things we can use to our client. Nanti dalam lab saya akan bagi manual lah, manual yang berkaitan. Okay, ini contoh WAIS, worker role interview. Sekarang ni saya dapat lagi tentang assessment work performance, AWP dan sebagainya. Nanti dalam lab saya akan bagi manual. PU model sama juga. Person, environment, occupation. You can use this model because there is interactional analysis, PE, PO, and EO. The output is employee profile in workplace, occupational performance productivity role. Sama dengan CMOP, PO lebih sesuai untuk return to work, because we not only looking at the person, but also the punya environment and also the punya occupation. Ini contoh Canadian model, you dah tahu. Tapi I prefer PEO dengan ni lah, apa, Moho. Okey. Ini salah satu contoh lah. So dalam you punya homework, ada artikel yang berkaitan. So you baca in detail lagi Moho, PO dengan juga COPM. And then this article, OT and Return to Work, Systematic Review, Injury Management in Hong Kong, Vocational Intervention Based in Moho, and then Experienced Worker Not Successful in Return to Work, and then Occupational Competence and its Relationship to Emotional Health. Ini saya buat kajian, publish dekat Occupational Health Journal, Health Journal, and then Occupational Injuries Research Malaysia. So tajuk-tajuk ni you all boleh baca lah. Dah saya upload dalam apa ni, website. Okay guys, ada soalan tentang topik ni? Dan juga kalau ada soalan tentang lesson plan dan sebagainya, boleh tanya sekarang.
Tak ada.
Tak ada? Yang lain, Amira? Ada ni?
Okey doktor.
Okey.
Tak ada.
Amira? Okey. Tulis nama tau, jangan
Okey doktor.
nama samaran. Ini ada nama samaran user ID. Siapa ni? User ID. Okey. Tulis nama yang betul tau. Yasmin?
Okey doktor.
Okey. Nama Sarah? Lepas tu letak muka lah, jangan letak gambar. Nanti saya ingat lah student saya macam mana. Rupa dia. Kan?
Okey doktor.
Letak gambar lah. Macam Safa. Kan? Terang sikit ni, user one ni. Jauh ni. Tak nampak muka. Ada muka panda lah, muka apa ni? Intan ya? Muka apa ni? Panda. Taklah muka betul. Supaya saya ingat nanti kalau jumpa kat pasar malam nanti, bolehlah. Ya ke? Kan susah.
Bolehlah doktor belajar.
Boleh. Apa salahnya? Ni siapa ni? Ariza. Okey, tunjuk muka Muka yang macam Safa ni. Muka dia, okey. Jadi saya akan ingatlah muka awak kan. Tidak, saya tak ingatlah muka awak ni. Okey, ada apa-apa yang ada isu lain yang you nak highlight kat saya? Wahidah?
Ada doktor.
Okey, satu lagi jangan lupa entrance. Entrance punya apa? Assessment tu masukkan. What is the difference between theory and model? Macam Moho ni kan Moho model. So teori dia apa? Anyone? Amira Liana. Cuba ceritakan Amira. What is the difference between theory and model? Siapa yang boleh jawab? Nabila? Anyone? Jangan seorang cubalah, cuba teka. Kalau orang cakap teori, apa beza teori dengan model ni? Khadijah? Anyone? Theory is assumption. Theory, hypothesis kan, assumption. For example, like actually Moore, Gary Cliffoner, dia wujudkan teori of human occupation. Kalau people injured ataupun penyakit, dia ada issue of volition, habituation, performance capacity, and this one interrelated dengan environment. This is a teori dia, assumption dia. Kalau orang cedera dan sebagainya, dia ada masalah issue of volition, motivation dia. Dia ada routine dia will be affected. Apa model pula? Model is something that people, terapis ni, dia setujulah untuk practice this theory. It become a model of practice. That's why Amerika, US, dia guna pakai this model of human occupation. Theory become a model. Model is something that people practice it. OT seluruh Amerika practice it. Dia pakai sebagai model of human occupation. Ingat tu, kalau orang tanya teori, contoh COMP, Canadian Occupational Human Performance, kan? COMP. That one mula teori tapi dia recognize as a model, Canadian model. COMP is a Canadian model. More is an American model. Australia pun ada model. Malaysia je belum ada model lagi. Model of practice. Mungkin kita punya model different from others. Tapi nak sampai situ, you kena create a theory lah. And then test your theory. Testing your theory macam model of human occupation theory have been tested. Tapi dia kadang test dengan tak banyak lah. Dia lebih kepada case study, qualitative. Tapi people accept it as a model, model of practice. So kalau dapat patient, you tengok dia punya model ni lah. Dia tengok dia punya volition, dia punya habituation, performance capacity, and then you tengok dia punya environment. Alright, faham tak? Saya ada cakap dengan siapa ni? Itu sebab saya nak jumpa you all nanti minggu ke-7 kan? Minggu ke-7 kita ada kelas dekat DK4 sana. Boleh saya tengok muka seorang-seorang. Ya? Okay, ada apa-apa lagi nak tanya?
Tak ada.
Tak ada. Okey. Okay, so yang paling penting baca artikel tu, homework, assignment. You baca dulu artikel berkaitan. So next lecture 50 minit, 2.5, saya akan soal randomly. You kena jawab. You kena ceritakan tentang artikel pada semua. That's the way we learn. As a degree student, bukan saja you acquire knowledge, but you also share knowledge. Independent learning study. Alright semua. Okay. Dah. Okay, kita tamat di sini kelas ni. Okay, stay home, stay safe semua ya. Okay, bye.
Thank you, Doktor.
Thank you, Doktor.
Thank you, Doktor.
Okay, bye semua.
Thank you, Doktor.
Yeah.
Thank you, Doktor.